Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. This is Rod here. First of all, it's 9 o'clock in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and the thermometer's gone off the chart. It's indicating over 50 degrees Celsius. So we're in the middle of summer, obviously. It's a hot one. Today I'm going to review the ALPS Mountaineering Lynx one-person tent. It's the first one-person tent that I've owned. I've since got another tent. But when I was researching the tents, I found that this was the best economical one-person tent. With the footprint, it's only $130 off Amazon. I've since got myself a big Agnes, and it was I think pushing $350 or $400, and it's also a one-man tent. So although this isn't quite as good as one of those, I used it for half a season and I had no problems with it. The only thing I'm not sure about is how waterproof it would be. I've never been in a full-blown rainstorm with it. I mean, living in Saudi Arabia, tend to not get that much rain, so it's fine. Now I got it with the footprint. It's freestanding. It comes with a Rainfly, and it also comes with some pegs. Now here in Saudi Arabia, the desert, being out in the desert, it's hard to peg the tent down because the earth is so hard. So what I use is paracord attached to big rocks, which is fine. It does everything it needs to be. Now for your ultra lightweight hiker type people, one drawback with this tent is with the fly it weighs 4 pounds 8 ounces. So although it's a fairly compact tent in terms of packing, it's still heavy. I've since replaced it with a tent that is 2 pounds 12 ounces. So we're looking at a tent. My new tent is 2 pounds lighter. To me, that's an issue because I'm putting it on my back. But this one, depends what you're using it for. You're using it for car camping, or if you're carrying it around in a boat, in a canoe, there's no problem at all with it. And it is really good value for the money. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Well, that's the tent all packed up. So it's pretty small. I've got the poles attached to it, and the pegs are inside. Okay, well that's everything unpacked from left to right. First you have the poles, then you have the pegs, then you have the footprint. The footprint is an option, which I got extra. Then you've got the main tent, and then you've got the Rainfly. Of course down here, that's the bag that everything goes inside. Okay, we won't need the pegs. It's a freestanding tent. Start with the footprint. You don't need the footprint, but it's a good thing to have. Here in Saudi Arabia, we're camping on rocks, and there's also a lot of prickly things on the ground. So this protects the bottom of your tent from rips and holes. It's better to get the rips and holes in the footprint than it is to get them in the bottom of your tent. Okay. Now when you're just using the tent without the Rainfly, it's really nice because it's almost like sleeping under the stars. It's like a big mosquito net. So there's two poles. They crisscross each other. some tents, they've integrated all the poles into one unit. With this tent, it's not the case. So, at the bottom of the pole in the grommet in the tent, and then also on the footprint. And you'll go crossways. You'll do the same on the other end. Get to have a nice shot of my ass. There you go. Now it's got one hook that hooks up to both. So you hook it up to the top, and then into the bottom, and then the rest just go like this. Can't get much easier than this. Okay, now being freestanding, you can move it around. Now one thing that's nice about this tent is on the main tent part there's two different grommets. If you want this to be really tight, put the poles in the first grommet. If you want it to be slightly looser, you put it in the second. Right now I've got them all in the second, so let's tighten things up a bit. So we'll put it in the first grommet on the tent. That one already is. There you go. It's all set up. Now the tent is 7'6" long, 84 inches, and it's 32 inches wide. There's one of your anchor points. Okay, you can see the two grommets, one here and one here. Depending on how tight you want the tent, and then it connects with these connectors all the way up, and this is the one that connects to both poles. Okay. It's nice and roomy inside. Now you can sleep with it just like this. Now, if you did want the tent anchored, you just you'd either stake it down on the four corners, or what I do here in the desert is I use paracord. I'll attach paracord to the anchor points on the tent, and the other end I'll connect to some big rocks. I've done that a few times in the wind. Okay, and if you don't have a wind, you don't really need to anchor it down. Okay, now let's attach the Rainfly. I've never actually used this tent in the rain, so I don't know how waterproof it actually is. So on the 4 anchor points of the fly, there's some connectors which connect to the main tent. One, two, and you can tighten these up. 3, 4. Now there's an air vent in the top. You just open these up so air can flow through. Generally when you set a tent up, you put the long axis in the direction of the wind. That way it'll stop the tent blowing around as much, plus you'll get the airflow. And there's points on here for guy lines and stakes. Normally when you use the fly you'd have some sort of guy line. So you have a vestibule. There's 2 points to connect the vestibule, so you can just use one side for the vestibule and you can just keep the other side open. I'll open up both sides. Now, pegs. They're not the lightest of pegs. If you really wanted to significantly reduce the weight of this packed up tent, you can buy lightweight ones. But it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 pegs. And it comes with guy lines for all the anchor points. So there's your pegs and your guy lines. I've got a few extra guy lines paracord that I've used for some of the other spots. There's only 4 guy lines for the corners, and if you want to hook up some of the edges, you need to use paracord. So there you go. It's a really good economical tent. It's a good starter. If you're not quite sure if you're into one-man tents, one-man camping, solo trips and stuff like that, well, for $130 at Amazon you can get yourself started, and if you don't like it, well, you've only lost $130, or you can always get rid of it, rather than, for instance, I have a Big Agnes Copper Spur HV-UL1. I've just ordered the UL2 version of it, so I have a little more room, and that was with the footprint. talking $500 American. So this is what I used to start to decide if I liked what I was doing, and I did. As I say, the only issue is how waterproof is it? If you take a look at the bathtub, it's brown all the way down the sides. Just not sure how waterproof that would be.